paper reports that two of the male prostitutes were given a late-night tour of the White House last year.
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Welcome to the Nick Bryant podcast. 2 weeks ago, I presented a narrated PowerPoint on the scandal that's unfolding around P. Diddy. An individual commented that he or she was surprised that my P. Diddy podcast didn't glean more views. I guess the reason for that is I didn't engage in rabid speculation, or perhaps I didn't mention the Illuminati or shape-shifting reptilians. However, I did show the Justice Department official who's going to be the point man for whatever needs to be covered up regarding P. Diddy. And no one in the legacy media and alternative media has a clue about the identity of this individual. Unfortunately, I gotta admit, that's not nearly as enthralling as the Illuminati and shape-shifting reptilians. But what can I say? I'm just not an Illuminati or shape-shifting reptilian kind of guy. Even though I realize that the media has groomed many people to choose salaciousness over truth, like in the Epstein case. For my Patreons who watched the entire podcast 2 weeks ago, you'll see much of the information that was in that podcast, but I've also added a lot of new information too. P. Diddy seems to have an affinity for sexual assault. As of March 2024, P. Diddy has had 5 sexual assault lawsuits launched at him. The first 3 lawsuits were filed in November of 2023. Thus far, one of those lawsuits has been settled. The first one was his longtime girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. The second one was Joy Dickerson. The third lawsuit was filed by Lisa Gardner. And the fourth lawsuit was filed by a minor who goes by the name of Jane Doe in the lawsuit. And the fifth lawsuit was filed by Rodney Jones, which has received a tremendous amount of fanfare in the media because of the spectacular pyrotechnic allegations that Jones has made. Let's look at P. Diddy's life, a thug's life, the genesis. P. Diddy was born in Harlem in 1969. His father was a drug dealer and suspected informant, and he was murdered in 1971. P. Diddy was raised in Mount Vernon, New York by his mother. He graduated from Mount St. Michael Academy in 1987, and he attended Howard University for 2 years. Now he starts to get upwardly mobile after dropping out of college. In the late 1980s, Combs worked as a talent director at Uptown Records. In 1993, he founded his own record label, Bad Boy Records, with Clive Davis, who we will discuss later. He became a hugely successful rapper in the 1990s. Combs is also credited with the discovery of Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, and Usher. Combs has a history of violence. In 1999, Combs was charged with assaulting an Interscope Records executive and pleaded guilty to harassment. Also in 1999, after a shooting in a Manhattan nightclub where Combs was partying with his then girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez, and bad boy artist Shine, he was charged with gun possession and bribery charges. He was acquitted, but Shine was sentenced to 10 years in prison for assault, reckless endangerment, and criminal possession of an illegal weapon. In 2003, a former Bad Boy Entertainment president sued Combs, alleging that in 1996, Combs threatened him with a baseball bat in hand into signing over his shares of the company. An appeals court dismissed the suit in 2006, ruling that the statute of limitations had expired. In 2017, Combs' former cook sued him in a Los Angeles court because he made her work 16 hours a day and forced her to serve him food after the singer had sex with other women and was naked. When she complained, she was fired. In February of 2019, they reached a financial agreement. In a 2019 interview, Gina Hoon, Combs' former girlfriend, said that during one incident in Miami, he, quote, stomped on my stomach really hard, like took the wind out of my breath. I couldn't breathe. He kept hitting me. I was pleading to him, can't you just stop? I can't breathe, unquote. So let's get into the lawsuits. The first one is Cassie Ventura versus Combs. Ventura and Combs met when she was 19 and he was 37, and they dated from 2007 to 2018. She was an R&B singer who was signed to Combs' Bad Boy label, and she said she endured more than a decade of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking in a lawsuit filed on November of 23. Cassie alleged that Combs would make her and his employees fly male sex workers to him in multiple cities in the United States, as well as abroad. According to the lawsuit, Combs would give Cassie ecstasy, cocaine, ketamine, marijuana, alcohol, and other drugs in excessive amounts during these parties. According to Ventura's lawsuit, Combs would film her with male sex workers and gave her explicit directions on what to wear, do, and say. These encounters were allegedly filmed on Combs' phone, laptop, and tablets, and occasionally on Ventura's phone. Ventura's lawsuit recounted what life was like for her for 11 years, with details such as the rapper beating her several times a year and forcing her to carry his gun in her purse. And he also reminded her of his ability to cause her serious harm. Her lawsuit stated that he would make her have sex with prostitutes while he watched and masturbated in luxury hotels and in their own homes, hence the sex trafficking claim.